And I remember some of them TikTok dances. Intro be bumping. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Man Talk Mondays. It's that time. We got a hot one for you.
Yes, we do, sir.
Derek, the Thought Engineer, rocking it with my man, Comedian John Yogi. How you doing tonight, man?
I am doing good, sir. How about you guys, man? Y'all good?
Good, man. Doing real good, real good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Man Talk Monday. It's an open forum where we talk about everything from religion to politics to relationships. But of course, we come from a perspective. Now, the good thing about it is it's not just for men. We want everybody to join in, right? Men, women, everybody. You're free to join in. How you participate. You just go into the comments, put your comment or your question. We can see that. And you can join into the conversation that way. Matter of fact, we want you to join in. We want to hear from you tonight. So make sure you drop the comments in so we can have you be a part of the conversation. Without further ado, we got, ladies and gentlemen, Man Talk Monday News.
Good afternoon and welcome to Man Talk Monday. I'm your host, John D. Blackman, and tonight's story, gifting. So what do you give the guy or the lady that has everything? Are gift cards appropriate? Do you spend enough time thinking about gifts if you just giving a gift card? Is it frowned upon? I don't know whether it is or not, but I don't want to spend all day in the store trying to find you a gift. So I'm going to give you a gift card. Hopefully, I have been paying attention to what you like. If I haven't, I give you some universal. It take me 10 minutes to find a card. So don't let me to get too individualized ism with the gifting. I do know if you give my mom a gift card and no cash, that's your ass. This has been John D. Blackman on Man Talk News this evening. Thank you and good night.
John D. Blackman, you were doing the food tonight, boy. I said, he's on fire. He is on fire tonight. John D. Blackman. Everybody, that's his friend. If you talk about it, be telling him all that crazy stuff. John D. Blackman, that's the friend that always telling that crazy stuff. So send your letters to John D. Blackman.
Don't get us confused.
Ladies and gentlemen, we won't prolong the time any further. We got a hot one for you tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how do I tell my wife? How do I tell my wife?
Let me drink some water.
Yeah, you can clear your throat, get it all out. You want to? We don't want no issues, all right? But we got a special treat for you tonight. Joining us, all the way from, I don't know, Paradise Island. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Thunder God of Love.
My man, Mr. Ken Cox. I think is he on?
Yeah, he's in there. All right. How do I tell? But welcome to Man Talk Monday, man. We appreciate you being on with us tonight. How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm blessed, and I'm really happy to be here to be a part of your show. I've been watching you guys on the net for a while, and I like what you're doing, and I just want to wish you guys well with what you're doing. I think a lot of people like what you're doing, and they really. This is my first time really seeing that thing that John had on his head. And I don't know what it was. It kind of scared me at first. It wasn't me. I said, the Holy Spirit said to me, ask John, what is that thing on his head? You know, if the Holy Spirit didn't know what it was.
Right. You got some explaining to do. Sabrina agrees with you. All right. So we're gonna get into this conversation. How do I tell my wife? We got holidays coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Holidays coming up. Unfortunately, COVID has now crept into the holidays, and it's messing up everything. You know, Thanksgiving. People love Thanksgiving, man. But typically, you know, you had a family all together. Everybody, it's big potluck. Everybody chip in. How do I tell my wife that my family don't like her potato salad?
Okay, I got a story.
Okay, all right.
My great aunt. Everybody knew they had like. Okay, it's not my great aunt. It's the friend of mine's great aunt.
Oh, okay.
Everybody knew she didn't really cook good, or she had like bugs. Oh. So we used to be kind of cordial and kind of stop by our house like we was gonna actually eat something, and we wasn't gonna eat nothing. With this one particular time, we went over there and the potato salad was crunchy. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't
crunchy potato salad.
Hey, and it wasn't supposed to be.
And she got bugs, you said, right?
Brother.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Selena says, first of all, I don't cook potato salad. Ladies and gentlemen, Selena is my wife. This is our producer. Shout out to our producer, Selena, Dr. Smith.
Yes.
Our producer, keeping us in line. All right.
Yes.
No, she does not cook potato salad. I was just talking in generalities. Big word, generalities. All right. But how do you tell your wife that she doesn't do something well?
Ken, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I want you to go first. Your wife is listening. I want to see how I want to see how well you turn out, and then I'll go.
We'll know something if the screen go black.
Yeah. Hey, I got my door shut. If it opens, I'll let y'all know. But I would probably play a game with her or something. Say, honey, let's play guess. Guess who cooking they don't really like. I know you ain't talking about me. And see, one thing about my wife, she always wants to do better, and she loves the feedback. And you can kind of tell when people don't really like your cooking. You act like you don't know, but you can tell if you pay attention to them. When they bite into your food, because most people can't hide. Because if I bite into something that's not good, I'm gonna go, Anytime somebody bites something and they stir at it, it ain't going that good. And I would just kind of tell my wife, like, hey, babe, we're gonna let somebody else cook this year. And then next year come, I'm saying this year too. And that year too. Until she would get it. I think she would get it after a while. Hopefully. Cook for me, baby. They don't understand your cooking.
Thunder God, how you handle it?
Man, let me tell you something. John was talking about potato salad a moment ago, but my wife had two things that she specialized in, and these were her specialties, and both of them wasn't no good. And she specialized in them. The first one was a Waldorf salad.
Oh no!
What is that?
Every holiday, I don't care if it was Halloween, she fixed a Waldorf salad.
Halloween.
And the problem with the Waldorf salad was the fruit she put in it was always too big. You have a grape in your mouth. You're supposed to chop that stuff up real nice so you can eat it, so you can swallow it. You won't have to choke and gag and all of that Heimlich stuff. All of her stuff, big old chunks of apples.
She got a whole apple. She got a whole
yeah. And I tried to tell her once, baby, I threw some of that stuff over to the dog and the dog choked on it. It's too big.
The dog was like,
If the dog can't swallow it, I can't swallow. She would, and her second meal dish, her favorite dish that she loved was buttermilk pie.
Okay.
She loved to cook buttermilk pie.
She didn't mess up the buttermilk pie, did she?
Can't mess it
It
up.
was always too sweet.
Oh.
It was always too sweet. I got teeth missing now because it was too sweet. And I would try to tell her, baby, we got to go to the dentist again this month. Because last month you fixed another buttermilk pie. It knocked out another one of my teeth.
They got Aunt Pearl.
Buttermilk pie.
They got Aunt Pearl checking her blood sugar after every meal. Right. So Mika said, if y'all could see your faces, this is fantastic. She's enjoying this right now. So speaking about, all right, Sabrina says, I actually asked my mother-in-law to show me how to make it so a win for me. All right, so that's smart.
Yes.
That's smart. She went to the source of where people love the potato salad.
Mm-hmm.
Say, teach me. All right. So speaking about teaching, right? Talk about how do I tell my wife? How do I tell my wife she needs to let me help her? I don't know about y'all. How do you get your wife to let you help her do stuff? Do your wife fight you on helping her do stuff?
My wife fight me at every turn about everything anyway. I have to say, hey, honey, I'm just here trying to help.
So I cook. I've been cooking for years. My mama taught me how to cook the whole nine. My wife, she's coming into her own in the cooking arena.
Where's she going?
She's learning how to cook, but I'm like, I've been cooking for years, but she will not let me in the kitchen while she is in there.
What?
She will not let somebody. I don't need help. But here's the thing. That's fine if you don't need help. But if things don't turn out the way she wants it to, it's a meltdown. And I'm like, listen, every good cook then blew it. Either you over-seasoned something, you burnt something, or something overcooked, you go through this.
My wife was wanting to make pancakes from scratch.
Ooh.
And while she was making them, I would sit there and look at her. But I noticed that when she would pour the syrup on them, I couldn't see no more syrup. It was sucking all the syrup up. And so she cut them. And she was like this. And she got, they got the joy in the eye. And so I get it. And you can hear it go, woo. I say, baby, that's pretty good. I say, you gonna eat something? She said, oh no, I don't want none.
Ain't that something when people feed you stuff that they won't eat themselves?
Oh, this
and they stand there and watch you to see what's gonna happen to you.
Right. That's my wife, bro. That's my wife. No, I'm not eating that.
Sabrina says she don't want you to see her messing crap up. Yeah. But you trying to help prevent. Listen, when my mom taught me, she stood and watched me. What make you think you could just go in there and just renegade in the kitchen? That things have to be taught sometimes. Yeah. Mika says, I love cooking, D. D taught me how to cook my first Dorito casserole. Shout out to the Dorito casserole. God, blessings and blessings.
Oh, that would go hard, don't it?
I love to help from everyone. People have to help you sometimes, right? But we're talking about having that conversation with your wife. Like, let me help you.
But it's hard to help, D, if they trying to impress you. Oftentimes my wife is trying to impress me when she's cooking something, and I know her heart is in it. So even if it's terrible, I've been acting school, so I will act my way through it.
So You apply acting skills.
Sometimes you have to, man.
That is funny.
You see, people see my wife now. She's a great cook, but they don't know where she came from. See, I was there when she before she perfected all of this.
Oh, okay.
That was me. Yeah.
You was the wind beneath her wings, huh? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I truly have to say I've had John's wife cooking. She really is a good cook, and that's obvious by John, by the way that John, his wife can
cook. That's on this phone.
Oh, he went there.
Hold on a second, sir. I have
your wife can cook.
I am big boned.
Yeah. That's what they used to tell the little kids before they got on the bus. You big boned, baby. You just big boned.
Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that.
All right. So we're talking about how do I tell my wife? There's some things that are just hard to tell your wife. How do you tell your wife that you don't like her family? Is that an easy conversation?
I think it is. I think it's an easy conversation because no, I'm lying. It's not an easy conversation, but I think it's easy to have because she'll already know. If they get to the house and you be like, I'm finna go in the room and watch TV, and you stand there and don't come out like until the next day, I think she gonna know you don't like. She gonna know you don't like her family. She gonna, because it's subtle things that we do, just like with them, when they don't like our families. That we know they ain't hiding it.
Okay.
I usually this is odd, but I did. It wasn't that I didn't like her family. It was that I didn't like certain family members.
Okay.
and whenever they were coming over to the house, I would tell I'd be right back. You know, I would I'd be right back. But it was always like just before they got there. I would always try to leave before they got there. One time John pulled up as I was pulling out the driveway, and I hollered at him, I'll be right back, dog. And I left. But when I got back, he was gone. And I called him. I said, dog, how come you didn't hang around? I said I was coming right back. And he said, well, I'll catch you next time. Oh, okay. And I never would stick her. She knew that I didn't get along with them. And one of the things that I would always do was stay out of their way. In the early stages of a marriage, it's difficult to tell your wife you don't like certain family members. But the longer you married, you can tell her you don't like none of them because she'll agree with you. I said, baby, for this reason, shall a man
leave his
and clean.
Okay,
that's the reason right there.
So let's narrow it down. What about her mama? How do I tell my wife I don't like your mama?
Yeah, well, see, that's the one I was talking about. She asked me one time if I would come over and cut her yard for her. And I knew if I cut the yard, that meant that I was going to have to do it every week. So she had some rose bushes, and I I cut all them roses out. And she said, he ain't going to never come cut my yard.
Oh, so you knew how to fix that problem, huh?
I think when it came to, so my friend.
Your friend.
Go ahead, Sabrina Chappelle said something.
Sabrina says, Chap, I think Chap is her husband. She said, Chap is always says, it's not that I don't like her, but. So that's how he cleans it up. Not family, more so friends. It's not that I don't like her, but I like the way Chap approaches it. It's like, it's not that I don't like her, but okay, I can gotta get with that.
It's funny because my wife and my mom it wasn't always what you see now because we were married so long. Both of them too tired to be fighting, so they get along now. But it wasn't always like that. And I knew my wife didn't particularly care for my mom at first, but she didn't say it to me. She just kind of put up with little stuff, and she mumbled under her breath, but she never really said nothing to me. And I think it's too difficult. To be honest, man, I think it's too difficult, like Ken said, at early stages to say, "Hey, man, your mom, you got to do something with your mom. You got to do something with your mom. I think it's too early. It's way too early because my mom might be there, she may not."
Okay, so all right, I've been in 12 years. How long you been in, John?
30.
Okay. How deep how long in do you have to be before you can really just express yourself when it comes
30.
to the family members? As a
30.
About 30.
30 years.
You got. Let me say this. You got to have some time in. I mean, you got to have some time in. Like, I ain't going nowhere, and you ain't going nowhere before you start having those conversations.
Just go in.
No, you just can't come in and say, "Hey, tell your mama that I see you." Next time, no, ain't gonna be none of that. Ain't gonna be that. No. Ain't gonna be that.
Okay. So, how do I tell my wife that I'm losing interest
in working? What we talking about?
What? So let's say, all right. So let's say you want a career change. You want a career change. How do I tell my wife that, hey, I'm tired of this job. I can't take it no more.
The other was already up, D. The other was already up.
How do I tell my wife that I'm not satisfied? How do you have that conversation?
I think that you tell her, like say for instance, if y'all live in Dallas and you have relatives up in Tacoma, Washington, you would go visit your relatives up in Tacoma and call her and tell her that long distance. That's not something you want to tell her right there at the house with her.
And that's, I think that's true, but I think just like the other one, there will be a hint in the air of something's going on. He's not into me like he used to, because I'm very visual. I'm looking. I'm always looking, and if I'm not looking at her like I'm still desiring her, she'll know, and she'll say something to me about it. She'll be like, "Hey, whoa, what's going on? Though I don't see the fire."
Yeah.
I mean, bro, I am so serious. She will call me on. She will ask me about it, but now for me to say I'm not satisfied, there has to be something that she can do or we can do to fix it. Now, I'm not satisfied with what? I'm not satisfied with our sexual activity, because sometimes we do get busy in our lives, and you have to say something about that. If I'm not satisfied with just her in general, man, that thing right there, you have to say something about that at the beginning when you first start, because it only gets worse before you talk about it. If she's doing something that you hate or dislike or pet peeve or something, you have to say something, just like she has to, before it gets to where it's unrepairable.
Yeah, I also, to add to that is, I think if you have to tell your wife that you're not satisfied, that you have to have been telling her or telling her information all along the way, and how do you not be satisfied with your wife? I don't know that how that attraction dies. Did she do something, or has she done something? Did she gain a lot of weight? Were you attracted to her because she was the right size? She was thick. She had the rump. She had the flat stomach, and all of a sudden now she's just letting herself go. Or
what if she had the snappy nappy?
If you married her and you like the snappy nappy, and all of a sudden now she permanent, we need to talk. We need to talk.
See, this is the thing. Oftentimes when we fall in love with people, the person that we marry is not the person who they're going to be in the future. You better
right.
enjoy that. You better enjoy it being like this and like that, because eventually that like this is going to be like this.
Yeah.
And like listen, I used to be so fine. I used to get stopped by the police. Okay? I used to be so fine. And I'm just glad. I'm just glad that my wife hung in there and saw what I used to be. Because I used to put up pictures to remind her, hey, don't forget what I used to be. Now, you know what? I used to be something.
Right. So Pastor says, satisfied with what? Or unsatisfied with what?
Yeah. What?
All right. So let's help some ladies out tonight. How do men typically let women know that they're losing interest? Carmen, we'll get Carmen. Carmen says, my husband told me I was not good at compromising. So he expressed that she's not good at compromising.
Did that help? Or is she still not good at compromising?
That's a good question. Carmen, you still there? Let us know. How did that conversation, did that help you that he told you that you're not good at compromising?
I think when two people are compromising, that means that they are at least talking and they're at least engaged in a conversation. I think if you are trying to correspond with your mate and they're just stubborn and they hear you and they understand you, but they're just not going to cooperate with you, I think that creates a wall, a barrier, and it creates tension in the household, creates tension in the relationship. Now she's talking to some guy or he's talking to some woman saying, my wife won't listen to me or my husband don't listen to me. As long as you have a line of communication going in your household, you're doing fine. It's when one person stops talking to the other, or when one person is not satisfied with something and they don't communicate that to their spouse or their lady or their husband. You just created a problem in your household.
What if we ain't having enough sex in the house?
Yeah, how much is enough?
Well, if you ask me now, once a month now. But
yeah.
But back 30 years ago, 20 years ago, it was, and because one of the pet peeves that I often hear people say, we don't have enough sex. We don't have enough sex. Well, when you just get married, it's just you. If y'all don't have kids, and y'all can do that. But once kids, once careers, once all this other stuff get added into it, and it takes away, something is going to be sacrificed. And most of the time, the things that are sacrificed is either you or the kids. Most of the time, it's the spouse, it's the husband, and he's normally. Go ahead, Ken. You got something?
Yeah. I started to make a joke. I started to try to crack a joke, but all of a sudden, I said, "No, that's a serious question. What if there's not enough sex in the household?" Because typically, women get married for security, for stability and security, and men get married for sex. We think now that we're married, we're gonna get to have sex anytime we want to, as much as we want to. Yes. And then you find out that while y'all was in the dating stage and the honeymoon stage, that sex was a priority. But then when you get married and your life starts to settle down, then sex is not that big a priority. If my wife told me that the house was on fire, I got to jump up and run and start putting the fire out. If my wife tells me she's not getting enough attention from me, that's an emergency too. And if your husband tell you he's not getting enough sex from you, attention from you, passion from you, desire from you, that's a fire. And you got to jump up and run and go put it out. If you don't, the house gonna burn down.
Yeah, but the thing is, Ken, you got to put it out then and a couple of days later and a couple of days later. Don't just give me some till I pass out. Not me.
Well, after a while, everything becomes abuse. You can't just abuse the privilege. You got to anticipate and look forward to the next opportunity. You got to do that too.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just asking the viewers, just Have you ever had this conversation before? And how did it work out for you? Has your husband, those that are married, has a husband came to you and expressed his unsatisfaction with either the quantity or quality? And how did you respond? I'm thinking in my sanctified mind that there was something that he wasn't doing that triggered the decline.
You think so?
Listen, I just got a feeling that once that man brings that up, once he tells her about it, she gonna have a list of unsatisfactory things for her on her end.
One of the things I found out is this is going way off topic, but sex for women start in the morning when they wake up. However you talk to them and whatever you say to them, however nice you are, they carrying that all day until you get home, and how you talk to them, how you treat them, how you call them during the day. All that is sex for them. Not for me. Not for my friend. So this is all day. So at the end of the day, when you come in there and you read it, she like, okay, it's been a good day. They look at the card, they get the card and say, well, let me see how the day has been before I can pencil you in for. I said, well, you
pencil you in.
Okay, you've been good today. You ain't talk bad. You ain't called me no names. We was good. So, okay, come on, you can have sex. Because if you did anything out of the way that day, oh no, bro, no.
Let me comment on that, John. I think sex is a priority for women. It's on their list of things to do, but I don't think it's at the top of their list. Women have so many issues and so many things that they have to do in life in their course of a day and a week, working, and the people that they deal with at work, and then when they're thinking about when they get home and cooking dinner and all of that stuff. I think sex is a priority in their lives, but it's not at the top of their list. It's somewhere close to the bottom. But for the guys, sex is on the top. It's at the top of our list. And because we at the top and they somewhere at the bottom, we start clashing because we're not meeting. But I found something to be really, really strange. And that is, if I have to talk to you about it, about sex, and if we have to discuss it and we have to get into a conversation and an argument about it, it's almost like now we're involved, but we're not involved because we were passionate and was desiring and missing one another. It's like we just doing it because he mad, so I got to do it because he mad.
Okay, I can say this. This is the thing that married couples have to watch out for. You get into a routine, and I think that's the dangerous part. You get into a routine of your day. Things are changing, like you said. The demand on your time is changing, but you get into this routine. I think it's definitely essential to have the conversation to bring it back to the forefront, because you just running off habit. You know what I'm saying? You're not really just considering everything. But I think when a person brings it up and they address it, now it's like, oh, okay, yeah, because I had kind of fell into this routine. So I'm glad you said something.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing like begrudging booty. hey,
what kind of booty?
Begrudging. Hey, let me say this. I ain't saying my friend won't take it, but he won't appreciate it.
Oh, that's how you do it? Oh, well, yeah. Anthony calls it charity booty.
Hey, we'll take it.
But I think men, you're right. Men don't care. But like John was saying, he brought up a good point. What we call foreplay, it begins way before you get to the bedroom. Like he said, when you wake up in the morning, what are you doing to reassure her that she's the one? What are you doing to reassure her that you love her, you appreciate her, the whole nine throughout the day? You know what I'm saying? How are you affirming her throughout the day? Because then at the end of the night, you like, mama.
Well, there's the old adage that women say, when the bills are paid, sex is always good. It's when home is lacking, when finances is struggling. Like I said, women get married for security and stability. And if you let the lights get turned off, I don't care if you got them turned back on the same day. She's still mad. You let the water get turned off and she can't stay in the shower, a hot shower for 45 minutes, and you get the shower to the water turned back on, it's too late.
Right.
You know why? You know why it's too late? Because Deborah's husband paid the light bill at his house. And Wallace is paying the light bill and the water bill at his. I tell you what, I'm just gonna go over there.
Wallace. He said Wallace.
That's an old name, ain't it? I just told all of them
Wallace.
Yeah.
That's one of them names you gotta grow into.
I'm just gonna take a shower over their house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. All this start there. You're right. That's first. Security first. Right.
Take care of home, man. Right. Take care of home, and your woman will take care of you.
So ladies, I want to know, ladies, what's one thing you wish your husband had told you before you got married? All my married friends, and even if you aren't married, what's something you want to hear your husband tell you, or what's something you want to know about your husband, right? So ladies, let us know, what is one thing you wish your husband had told you before you got married? Because I don't think people really understand. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of things that need to go on before you go down that aisle and change these vows. There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Can I talk about that from a male perspective as well?
Help us out.
I wish my wife had told me before we got married that she had gout.
Gout?
Gout in her feet. I wish she had told me that she was borderline diabetic.
Oh.
She didn't tell me that. I wish she had told me that high blood pressure run in her family. It's a whole bunch of stuff people don't tell you in the beginning, and they know about it. They just won't tell you because they're afraid if they tell you, you gonna run away. You ain't gonna, and so they don't tell you that y'all trying to have a child and she done already had a hysterectomy. Oh
wow! Now Ken is talking about what we call a difficult conversation. Now here's the thing. He probably brings up a great point. Ladies, I'm still waiting to hear from you. What's
I'm just saying they're not finna write in. You can start. They're not writing in. Ken done made everybody not write in.
He just scared everybody.
I'm sorry. Was that out loud?
My wife said that he's a loud early riser. Brother, I have to turn into a ninja to get up in the morning. I gotta walk and not make a sound in the morning. If I don't, I get evil stares big time. Because I like to get up early because before I get my day going, there are certain things I like to take care of. I like to read my Bible. I like to get along with God before I get my day going. But I have to get up early to do that. And she's not a morning person. And so I have to get very creative on how to keep noise down, noise level down as I get up. So, yeah.
I wish she had told me her credit score was bad.
Ooh.
Her ex-husband, we were paying bills that belonged to him.
Oh, wow.
She didn't tell me about that.
Kendra went in. Sabrina just simply said he farted in his sleep. Sabrina, breaking news, you do too. Everybody
She right now looking like this. Oh, you lied on me. You lied on me. No, I did not.
But no, Ken brings up a good point. There are certain things, and he said something. He said, we won't say it because we're afraid the person will run away. But that's a chance you have to take before you go in. That's a chance you have to take. My father-in-law used to always say, he said, the best time to get divorced is before you get married. So you got to make some decisions on what are you really willing to deal with this person and all their issues. So there has to be some conversations. So men, we gotta, as leaders, we gotta step up and be able to have these conversations about, difficult things.
So should we be asking these questions before we marry them then? Because a lot of the, credit, and there are a lot of basic things that need to be talked about before marriage. Are we too busy looking at them legs?
Yeah.
Or are we too busy looking at that and we saying, oh, everything, love will take care of itself? And then once we get in, it's like, oh, wait a minute. There ain't gonna be no romance because the finances all messed up.
You know what? All right. So Dr. Gloria Finchroy says, I wish he would have told me he had other children.
And but oh,
wow.
But you know what? Because in your dating, that doesn't come up. Because if I'm trying to get to know you and you get to know me, if you don't ask the right questions, you won't get that information. That some of that, or should that be something that I'm just going, hey, I got some more kids. I got kids over here.
That's what I'm saying. It's not first date information. But at some point, if you've been dating 3-6 months, at some point you probably want to share that you got kids.
Yeah. Well,
but I would be like, baby, hand me some more of that Waldorf salad. And by the way, I got a couple other kids. And let me have another slice of that buttermilk.
But the crazy thing, and I think that's really important. You guys are right on to something, because that would have been a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to drag. I don't want to say, when I say drag, I don't mean drag. I didn't want to bring anything into our relationship that was from a previous relationship, and I didn't want to deal with boyfriend drama or with baby. And I didn't want to deal with that going in. So if we had got into a relationship, but that was one of the things we talked about, because I adamantly didn't want that. So that was one of the first things that came up when we started dating. Hey.
Yeah.
You got kids? You got any kids? Because I don't want to get into this. I don't want to make you feel something that's not. Because if you got kids, I wasn't gonna be there. That's where I was then. I've matured and things better, but
I dated a lady once, and we would go out quite often, because I'm very financially strapped, so I would like to take her out all the time, Okay. But she always insisted that I would drive, and I didn't mind because I'm the thunder god of love, and so later on I found out that she couldn't see at night.
Yeah.
That's why she wasn't driving. She had me driving because she couldn't see at night.
She didn't want to say nothing.
She didn't want to say nothing. I said, baby, you should have told me that when we first started driving.
Yeah, but you would have rather her told you like that than have her drive and be.
Yeah. You didn't see that? You didn't see that big old truck? You how did you not?
Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right. So Brenda says, problem is that you think it's a problem. I don't, so I may not mention it. All right. So she's saying to her, it might not be a problem. So she just doesn't bring it up.
Yeah. And I think most guys think like that. If they taking care of their kids, they got other kids, somewhere, they don't think it ain't no issue to them. I want to say it wouldn't be an issue to most guys, I think.
Which brings up a great point. You can't consider whether you believe it's an issue. You have to consider whether that person would consider it an issue, and then address it from that point.
Well, what it creates is it creates a trust factor. Now it's a trust factor because if I find out later on something major that you didn't tell me, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, what else is she has that she hasn't told me? Or she's thinking, well, he didn't tell me that he had a felony. He didn't tell me that he went to jail for striking his girlfriend. And if he's hiding that, what else is he hiding?
She had it coming.
Oh,
no, they don't have it coming.
Sir,
No.
Cheryl Lewis says, "I wish he had told me he had PTSD."
I was telling you when I was choking you.
Say it ain't me. So I remember a situation I watched this situation unfold one time. I'm sitting outside of Walmart in the fire lane because I'm right by the door, and my wife had gone inside to grab something. She's coming out real quick, but all of a sudden, this man and this woman come out. I don't know if they were married, but they were at least dating. They was with each other. And I'm watching her, and she is tearing him a new one. She is ripping him. And he has this look on his face of, oh man, I messed up. You know, he has this humble look on his face, but she is not letting up. And I'm saying, pull up, sister, pull up, pull up. It's going too far. All of a sudden, his face changed. And that humble look turned to anger. Yeah. And just at that moment, he lit into her.
Yeah.
He lit into her. And all I could think about, I guarantee you, they got to the register and money they thought they had, they did not have.
Yeah.
And he did not tell her beforehand. How do I tell my wife I done messed up the money?
She said, you let me fill up these baskets and we'd have walked all around this stove for an hour. And you standing there while they were bringing that up and you knew it wasn't going to go through.
Bro, you go, bro. All I can say is, ooh wee.
He would have took that argument because if in that situation he would have took that argument because he was guilty, but to physically go off on her was because she did him in public. You have to keep your issues private at home.
Wait. It ain't private no more, Kenny. You at the register. Everybody can see it. Ain't private no more. Hey. It was private when it was in the car and we was driving over there. But that thing that everybody know about, everybody looking and talking now.
But she was fussing. She wasn't fighting. She was fussing. You can't take a good tongue lashing. You can't.
If you can't take good tongue lashing, you ain't gonna stay married.
Yeah. Well, if you start hitting on her, you ain't gonna stay married either.
Brenda said, "Preach." Now, because I remember hearing this great man say this. He says, when it comes down to it, and a man, the last thing he has over a woman, she may have the car, she may have the house, she may have it all together, but the last thing he has over her is physical strength. So you have to be careful and make him not resort to that to show you that he still has power.
Yeah.
So how about this? So if you have slipped up and hit a woman prior to dating who you with, would you tell the woman you're dating?
Right.
Well, if it's important, and it depends on what you had to strike a woman for. If it's important.
To bag it up. No, go ahead, Ken. I think he's trying to say something. Go ahead, Ken.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Years ago, I think I was probably about 9 or 10 years old, and I had this girl. I let this lady stay in my apartment, And she was moving to California. She just needs to stay there for that month, and then she's gonna move on to California. And I overheard her telling.
Time out real quick. You had a at 9. Okay, go ahead.
Don't pay attention to the age. Don't pay attention to the age. Don't pay attention to the age. Go ahead.
And so I overheard her telling a friend of hers on the phone, he think I'm gonna leave in 30 days, but I'm gonna stay here till I draw all of my unemployment. And because I heard her say that, I put her out of my apartment, but she wasn't gonna leave. So I picked her up from behind, carried her outside, and locked the door. Well, she called the police, and the police arrested me. They said that because you touched her, you were in violation of her. And that went on. They arrested me for it. I got out 2 days later, but I had to plead with her to drop those charges on me because all I did was pick her up from behind and carried her out of my apartment. I didn't hit her, wasn't physical, but anytime you just touch a woman, you put your hands on her, you know? And so I didn't think that would be important to tell a new lady that I was dating. I didn't want to share that kind of information, give her that kind of knowledge, because she'll say, oh, okay, he can't touch me. Hit me. I want you to. She'll get all up in your face.
Dr. Gloria Fitzgerald says some things you have to take to the grave.
Yeah, but you take her with you.
Now, Ken raised a good point, because how do you have? Is it more important that it's a difficult situation, or you dealing with a difficult person? Which one is harder to deal with, a difficult situation or a difficult person?
I think a difficult person, because if you level-headed, a difficult situation, you guys can talk it out and get through it. But if it's a difficult person, man, dude, a difficult person makes easy situations and things that should be breezed difficult. And so it's all about, to me, it's all about perspective. If that difficult person is difficult, then everything is, and you don't want to deal with that, man. Yeah.
I agree. The scriptures tell us, man born of a woman have but a few days full of strife. So we're all gonna have difficult situations that we're not gonna get out of this life without that. But if you're dealing with somebody who has a short attention span, or their attitude is bad, or their understanding is bad, that's where the real issue is. It's not in the problem. It's in the person that you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same with you. Selena says a difficult person. A difficult situation can be handled with two problem-solving individuals with a plan.
Yeah,
but is that the same difficult person that you would win with? Is that the same one? Period. No, period.
Period.
They didn't just get difficult because most men will put up with you being difficult until they get what they want. And now they like, well, now I have achieved my goal. Now I'm about to bounce. But that more times than not, they difficult people. Period.
You know what I found out that's interesting about people, two people trying to get along with one another is I'm not arguing with you about this situation that we're confronted with, and you're not arguing with me about this situation that we're confronted with. I find that what we are really arguing about is I'm arguing with the way you were raised. The morals and the principles you grew up with are clashing with the morals and the principles and the way I was raised. And so just because we black or just because we're white or Hispanic, that doesn't give us enough to argue with. Women say, you left the toilet seat up, and I was taught to leave it down. We are clashing with one another on how we handle money. I wasn't raised and taught how to save money, but women won't ever spend all of their money, and they can't understand why you keep spending all the money coming to me. And I'm like, how come you keep coming to me? We're clashing. Our personalities are clashing with the way we were raised.
Personalities, histories,
ideas. Yeah.
Some
yeah. Some women was taught to let the man be the man of the house, and they were taught to love their husband, and they were taught don't get in your husband's face and don't be challenging him. And then some women weren't taught that, and they're in your face challenging you. It's not the issues that we are having, it's the issues with it's the way we were raised, the morals and the principles, the concept, the precepts that we were taught. Coming up clash.
And that's why you want to find somebody where they talk about being unequally yoked.
Yeah.
It's not talking about whether she's a Christian, you're a Muslim. It's talking about, do y'all have the same ideas?
Yeah.
But you got to get past the physical though, Dick. If you don't get past how they look physically and figure out what's going on in here, bro, that's the problem, I believe.
Let me say this. You know what sex really before marriage is? It's signing a contract before you read the fine print.
Okay. Wow. I thought it was
because it's like you so anxious for that thing that you don't look at and see how good is this.
Yeah.
So you sign up for it and you locked in. Listen, sex will lock you into something that you haven't really thought through.
Yeah.
And if you thought through it, how many people have baby mamas that they wish they had never messed with them? Because you got locked in and you signed you signed up before you knew what you were signing up for.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. Let's have the final thoughts, Mr. Thunder God.
The final thoughts concerning everything we've talked about tonight.
Yes.
I think, ironically, the last thing that I was talking about, which is when you're dating and when you're engaged, and all of these issues need to be discussed before you get married. And then once you get married, you start to really find out how much you are alike and how much you are not alike. I think my final thoughts would be that everybody should approach the table with an open heart. I dated a young lady once, and I was cleaning out a garage for her, and she was screaming because I was sweeping with the broom. And she said, "That's the broom I sweep inside with. That broom there is what I sweep outdoors with." And she couldn't understand why I swept with the broom that was in the house when I had to make her understand. I grew up poor. We didn't have but one broom in the house, and that broom swept everything. I ain't never heard of anybody having two brooms, a broom for indoors and a broom for outdoors. Now, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who do that, but there are a lot of people who've never heard of that, and I was one of those people. And so I think my final thoughts would be that everything needs to be discussed. Everything has to be put on the table, and two people have to have an open mind to say, the things that you have that I don't have makes me better, and the things that I have that you don't have makes you better. And together, that's what makes us better. You complete me, and I complete you.
Okay, my final thought for this evening is the relationship will never be any better than it is when you start dating. Me and my wife have a beautiful relationship right now, but when we first started dating, it was really good. And if you can't talk to each other when you're dating, that's a bad sign. You should be able to talk to each other about any and everything. And if there are some doubts about what you can't talk about, maybe you need to rethink the whole thing about marriage. Maybe you need to rethink the marriage thing. Because marriage, dating, all that, you have to talk about difficult things. Talk, people. Talk to one another. That's my thought.
Listen, one thing you don't want to do, don't underestimate the value of real communication. Communication is key. Now, here's the important thing. You don't want to wait till the actual moment to have communication. You don't want to wait till tempers are hot and you in the heat of the situation. We are human. We can think ahead. We can think beyond the moment. So before an issue becomes a problem, talk about it. Talk early, talk often, speak about the things that are on your heart. If you're husband and wife, you have to be able to sit down and have just a conversation. And in those conversations, you want to address things that could potentially be issues later on down the road. And this way, when it comes up, it's not going to blow out of proportion because you've already discussed it. We are at the top when it comes to the animals. We have a mind where we can think and we can really go there before we actually are in a situation. Let's use that mind to properly plan our lives, plan the things and talk about the things that hurt us, talk about the things that concern us before they actually become an issue. Because when you're in the heat of it, emotions take over and it's never a good thing. So let's be smart. Communication is key. So communicate early, communicate often, and have a good relationship through communication. And that's our King Speaks for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Mr. Thunder God for joining us tonight. Man, we definitely appreciate you being with us. It has been a pleasure having you, sir.
Thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're in Georgia, man. We might have to get you back, man. We're in Georgia.
What city?
We might have to get you back. We're in Georgia.
In Georgia?
In Georgia, yeah. Atlanta, Georgia.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Man Talk Monday for this week. You can catch us next week, Monday, 7 o'clock, right here on Facebook. We'll see y'all next week. Peace out.